I really don't want to see you go out of business if the market crashes. I don't want to see you lose money or get hurt. So a lot of y'all have been watching this channel, our Investor Army channel, for some time now, and you've been doing very well over the past few years with your rehabbing business. So I want to make sure you don't have the same fate as so many of those who made big fortunes in 2005 and 2006, but then lost everything quickly in 2007 to 2009. And the reason why so many investors got hurt, so many rehabbers got hurt, was because they didn't understand a few different things that we're talking about in today's video that basically all revolve around carrying costs of a property. So I put out a video a few weeks ago talking about, is the market crashing? And in that video, we kind of dug down and talked about that we're in 2017, heading into 2018, 2019, 2020. And yes, we're historically behind the 8 ball, right? We're basically at a point where at any time we could see a correction in the market happen. And I don't want to see you get hurt. And yes, right now there are reports of certain markets around the country already cooling off and slowing down. So it's time to become very aware of this, because carrying costs are what are going to hurt you when you have 10 houses on the market, $30,000 to $50,000 of your own cash inside of each deal at risk. What happens if all of those get foreclosed on at the same time because you can't make the payments after you're bleeding out month after month because so many houses are sitting with long days on market? So let's look at it like this, guys. Right now, most of you, it's taking you between 3 to 6 months to buy a house, rehab it, sell it, and have the closing process take place and put a check in your pocket. When the market slows down, levels out, or drops off, this time period, this carrying cost is going to increase. You're not going to have multiple offers coming in for your houses, which is artificially pushing the prices up, and you're not going to have all the extra cash that you're making. You're not going to be able to use flat listing fees and get houses to sell quickly. You're going to have to start staging your houses, so a lot of extra costs are going to come in, and you're just going to make less per project. And a lot of you right now, you need to be very, very honest with yourself why you're making the money that you are on the houses that you're doing. So some of you are making $20,000 on a house that you would have broke even in a flat market, or in a diving market would have even lost money on, or you're making $40,000 on a house that really should be making $20,000 on, but you need to sit down and look at the numbers. Look back and say, when I bought this house, I was planning on selling it at $200,000. If you're selling it at $220,000, that means you're selling it at $20,000 premium to what you thought you were gonna sell it for. So in a flat market, that could be $200,000, right? Or it could be less, it could be $190,000 or $180,000. What if the market's diving? So a lot of y'all are getting bailed out because of the market appreciation. In a hot market, on a $200,000 house, in a double-digit appreciation market, it could go up $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, right? So a lot of y'all got bailed out because of appreciation. So you need to be very focused on this. A lot of y'all got bailed out because multiple people pushed the price up. So you need to focus on the things that are making you money right now, and are you buying correctly, or are you just getting bailed out? So let's go ahead and look at this example right here, because I think this is going to make a lot of sense to you and put you kind of in a state of awareness as you go forward with your rehabbing business, because I don't want to see any of y'all get hurt. Now, carrying costs, guys, a lot of y'all are new on this channel. So our carrying costs are the liabilities that we have, the cash in a pocket that we have to fund to keep that project going without getting foreclosed on, right? Because who's going to foreclose on us? It's going to be your biggest cost in the deal, right? The lender that loans you the money to borrow the property. So on this particular property, we borrowed about $275,000 from our lender to buy the house. That means we borrowed it at 12%, 1% a month, or $2,750 a month goes from our pocket to the lender's pocket to make him happy so he doesn't want to foreclose and take our property back. Also, we had about $8,000 in taxes, breaking down to about $667 a month. You're gonna have insurance, water, electric. Some neighborhoods you're gonna have HOA fees. And also, guys, right now in summer, you're gonna have a lot of yard mowing fees. On a big house, you're gonna have to mow it twice a month to keep it show ready. If you have 10, 15 houses, guys, you understand how expensive it can be just to keep the yard going. Most people do not think about that. If you're up north, you're gonna have snow removal. And depending on what area and what market you're in, you're gonna have other costs associated. But on this particular project, guys, we're looking at a little over $4,000, $4,087 a month out of pocket. So if it takes 5, 6 months, that's a lot of money, right? So we want to make sure that we make the most amount possible. So we want to make sure that we rehab the house nicely so it sells quickly, but also price it accordingly and fairly to the market so that we don't have huge carrying costs. So on this particular project, let's assume we bought this house, we paid $275,000, but we had to rehab it, and our lender didn't give us much of the rehab costs, which is pretty common. So we had to pull money out of our pocket. Now, after closing, this has our carrying costs, our closing costs, everything wrapped in. So we're going to assume that we're right around $340,000 cash in the deal if we sell this house for list price day one of $400,000. That's going to be our total net. So we're going to have about $60,000 net profit. Now, some of y'all are going to be a real estate agent, and you're going to avoid 3% of realtor fees on the front end. Some of y'all are going to flat list it. Some of y'all are going to use one of those daily listing services for $5, $7, $10 a day. So this number is going to be different for every single market and different for each individual doing this project. So just kind of bear with me. These are generic numbers. So the goal is to list for $400,000. But I'm about to show you what the real estate squeeze is, because as days on market go by, your carrying costs are going up. And if the house is not selling and you're having to decrease the price, price is coming down. So it's squeezing in right here. So you can see if we sell at day 1, for the amount of cash we have in it, we're going to make a big profit. But as days go by, month 1, month 2, month 3, your profit's going to decrease until you hit this day right here. What day is that? That's the day when you basically hang your head down and say, oh crap, I'm in some trouble, right? Because that's the day when you're now looking at not making a profit anymore, but just trying to hang on as tight as you can and not lose as much money, basically not lose too much money that you can still stay in business. So imagine if you had 10 houses and they all hit this point at the same time, and you've got $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in each house, and now you're just trying to basically say, hopefully I don't lose everything, which is what happened to so many people. So you need to be focused on carrying costs and days on market, because this is very important. So if you have an expensive house, guys, you cannot drop the house from $4,000 to $395,000. A $5,000 price reduction is not going to make the market notice. Most often, you're going to have to reduce it $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. We usually reduce them $20,000. If we've had the house sitting on the market for 30 days and it's not selling, what makes the house not sell? It's either priced incorrectly, or it doesn't look good, or wasn't rehabbed well. So if you did a really good job and the house looks nice, there's only one other thing that it could be, which is the price. So you're gonna have to drop the price. And in a hot market right now, if it's not selling in 30 days, when most houses are selling day 1 with multiple offers, you need to reduce the house quickly. So we'll reduce it to $380,000. What happens if, another 6 weeks or 2 months goes by and we're not selling it, we've reduced it again. So say we've gone by 3 months and it hasn't sold, we've reduced it from $400 to $380 to $360. Well, 3 months have gone by at $4,000 a month carrying costs. So now we're at $340 plus 12, so $352, and the sales price is now $360. If it sells that day, we still have 30 more days at least for the closing process to take place, the appraisal process, the inspection process, right? The bank process. So now you have another $4,000. So now you're coming into high 350s when you sold at 360, and basically looking at making hardly anything on that project. And now you're basically looking at, why did I do this project in the first place? My opportunity cost of tying up 30, 40, 50 grand, this deal could have been used somewhere else. So now you're actually losing money because of your opportunity cost. But what happens if it doesn't sell even at 360 after 3 months and you have to keep reducing it? Now you're headed into a loss, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So sometimes it's better to reduce a property quickly if it's not selling in a hot market at a high price point than to risk carrying it too much. Now, if you're in a low price point market and you've got a $40,000 house, it doesn't really matter because your carrying costs are not that much. But you need to ask yourself this: how long do I want to sit it out? How much of the squeeze do I want to feel? So sometimes it's good just to get in and out of a project that's sitting there and get your money out. Because this is basically how so many people lost a lot of money, because they had 10, 15 houses where they're basically looking at making $40,000, $50,000. Everything was good, and all of a sudden, in a 6-month period, now they're looking at losing $50,000, $60,000 a house, and they're now all of a sudden out of business. So how do we protect ourselves in this situation? How do we make sure that we minimize our risk and limit our risk? Well, you're gonna have to look at 2 things, right? Which most investors are not ever looking at this. Right now, most investors, when they look at a deal, they look at the purchase price, they look at the repair cost, and they basically look at the comps to see what everything's selling at and making a decision based on that, because they haven't had a problem selling a house within a month. Really, most are selling them before the house is even listed, because people are coming by if they're rehabbing a house and seeing what's going on. But if we're gonna have a slower market and things are gonna level off or even start to dive, you really need to pay close attention to days on market and number of active listings. So if you have 90 days on market, or 140 days, 150, 60 days on market, you're gonna have huge carrying costs. And if you're not putting this into your calculations, you're gonna get hurt very, very badly, because you're not gonna sell it day 1. Also, another indicator of a house that you're gonna have a long sit on or a long carrying cost is gonna be the houses that have a lot of actives in the subdivision. So if you pull it up on the MLS and there's 10, 15 houses in that subdivision and they're all active, you're gonna be in for a world of hurt. It's gonna be harder for you to sell that house because there's a lot more competition. Also, if you pull up a house when there's basically every house that's sold and there's no houses that are active, you have a really good deal and you want to jump on it quickly, and that house is always going to be a good house to buy because it's going to sell quickly, even if the market's kind of basically starting to slow down or go the other way. So, main thing, guys, to take away from today's video is look at days on market, the number of actives, pay close attention to your price reductions as well as the carrying costs on the property, and making sure that you avoid that real estate squeeze. Be very careful before you just jump into a project, because once you close and you take title and you fund that deal, you are in that deal until you get out of that deal, and a lot of people get stuck inside, and that's how a lot of people went out of business in 2007 to 2009. I don't want to see this happen to you. If you like today's video or you have any more questions on what we're talking about, send them into info.investorarmy@gmail.com and I'll get back to you. Also, I want you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a good day.